The arrest of a Nigerian pastor charged with human trafficking and sexual assault have placed under the spotlight the issue of false prophets. The 58-year-old father of three was arrested in April last year at the Port Elizabeth International Airport. Tim Omotoso is said to have sexually molested at least 30 women who were members of his Jesus Dominion International Church. Omotoso's case brought under the spotlight the mushrooming of churches led by unscrupulous pastors masquerading as men of God. South Africans have been seen at some churches eating grass, drinking petrol, some even getting doomed, with promises of miracles. The Commission for the Promotion and Protection of Rights of Cultural, Religious and Linguistic Communities has been investigating the conduct of these churches. Now, joining us in studio, we have two social activists who've worked with the CRL Commission to expose some of these alleged prophets. We have Pem Mabini as well as Cindy Mzamo. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us on Afro World View.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I mean, this has been quite a couple of years from last year till this year, all of these revelations coming out with
Absolutely.
false prophets. Now, one question that a lot of people ask themselves, how did South Africa end up finding itself under the power of these false prophets? Why are we their money-making ground?
I think one of the critical things that we have discovered as South Africans was so desperate. We want to see, quick things through religion. And also when they come into our country, they talk about miracles, miracles this, miracles this. And I think also the South African markets, they don't understand what is spirituality, what is religion. Because when you talk about Trinity, you talk about three things. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. And that's cleanliness. And God specializes in cleanliness. And God doesn't specialize in dirty things where you find some certain of these pastors sleep with children, young girls. And that's dirty when you talk about godly Trinity. I'm just going to hand over to my sister as well, just to expand.
Yes, just so she can also add on.
Exactly.
On why,
we've got honest prophets that are doing the right things in the South African environment. And what I'm saying is, let us actually clean those that are not clean, so that they don't actually spoil the work of the clean prophets.
Yes. And what about you, Pam? What have you come across?
What I've noticed is that these pastors, they've studied us. They studied us, and then they find that people in South Africa, they are very, very, very desperate. And they are here to take advantage of our poor people that are desperate in a way that they've got this thing of believing in miracles, and which there's no such a miracle. You need to work hard. And I would believe that some, I don't want to say all South Africans, some people are lazy. You know, they want shortcuts. And also they brainwashed them, made them to believe in such things like witchcraft. They studied us that we believe in witchcraft, we believe in God, and now they act and pretend as if they are the ones that got connection with God. And you have to believe that whatever thing that you want, even if you pray for God, for God to hear your prayers, it has to go through him, and which there's no such a thing. Because if you pray, you can pray even if you are at the toilet, even if you are wherever, God will hear your prayer. And when the time is right, God will answer your prayer. And now you'll find that they are taking advantage of young girls, women. They break marriages where they will, for instance, they will look at your on your Facebook post and look at the days where were you, what was happening. Let's say you posted that you feel down, desperate and stuff, and they will pretend as if they are prophesizing that on the day, whatever. Let's say you take a picture with me, and they will notice that there's a lot of, Sipha is close with this woman, and let's say you tag me there or what, and then they will pretend as if they are prophesying that your friend is witchcrafting you or whatever, your friend is not clean and stuff. And you will find that they are here to break families, break marriages, and destroy young girls' future.
Now, when we look at what happens with the false prophets? I mean, almost on every TV station, they're there.
Yes.
Do we then say, why are they being televised if then that's the case? Do we ask ourselves that question?
Absolutely. We have to look at the whole religion environment. You know, I like what the president of Rwanda has done, because in Rwanda, if you want to start a church, you must have a qualification in religion. It's either it's a diploma, it's a degree in religion. Because once you have a qualification in the work that you do, you would not falsify anything. And religion is religion. And God is God. God doesn't change. He was there yesterday. Can I just make one good example?
Yes.
Then if you look at Apostle Paul, if you look at Prophet Jeremiah in the Bible, those were clean prophets. Those were clean apostles. There was a time where Apostle Paul was actually, you know, traveling within Rome. There was a fortune teller who was a woman, who was always sitting in the road where Apostle used to pass by. And Apostle Paul used to actually see that woman. And that's fake prophets on its own. It started in the old Bible. That woman used to actually do fortune telling. But when Apostle Paul approached that woman and said, hey, the spirit in you, get out. And he started actually telling the people that they must follow Apostle Paul. You know what happened? Apostle Paul was locked up. Because that demon of false prophesying was taken out from that woman as a fortune teller.
So now, before we actually expand on false prophecies and how maybe we can look at prophesizing as in, I mean, we've got indigenous churches in South Africa.
Yes.
And they're more spiritual than religious.
Yes.
But now we see that these churches are still continuing to grow, still gaining numbers, even though we know the stories about the doom, the Detol, Omotoso himself trafficking young girls. Why do we say that? Why do they still flock the churches? Why do they still go back?
If you look at the work of the CRL Commission, the CRL Commission is doing good work. But what we need to do is we need to expand on the work that the CRL Commission is doing in terms of campaigns, in terms of actually awareness and making sure that people, the masses out there, understand so that they can choose the right and the wrong, so that they can differentiate the true prophet and the false prophet.
How do we tell the difference? I mean, we have prophets right now that are, as we know, I'll name one major one. You've got prophets TB Joshua. You've got prophets Chris. You've so many prophets that are there. And I mean, one of our own as well. You've got your prophet Khatebe as well. Now, how do we differentiate between the real and the fake? How does one know? How do congregates know? As you've said, these are desperate times for a lot of South Africans.
You're right.
You're right. I believe that you can, it's easy, to me, it's easy to spot a false prophet. There's no prophet that will tell you, because most of the, let me say, most of the false prophets, they brainwash the minds of the people. And you'll find that most of these false prophets are the ones that will be the one driving most expensive cars and
bodyguards.
The houses, and they will brag at church that they are the ones that their kids go to such private schools and what, and you'll find that they will force people to pop out money. I mean, where did you hear that, I mean, a pastor, for you to consult a pastor, for him to prophesize you have to pop out 7,000 or 10,000. Where do you get that money? I mean, you're not working, you're desperate, you need that money, but then you have to sell your house because of this false prophet, of this pastor telling you that your money will triple, your dreams will come through and stuff. God accepts you for who you are. Even if you pay 20 rand at church, I mean, it doesn't mean that there's a certain amount that you have to pay. If your pastor has to pray for you, he will pray for you for free. Why does this false prophet charge money for them to pray for the congregation?
Yes. And what's mind-boggling is this. When people pay the money and they expect to be prophesied, do some of these prophecies come true, or do they not come true, for people to learn from that no, man, this person is a fake? Or maybe even as we said, in our African language, you know, we know there's ukutwala. So maybe they go practice into those rituals so that they can prophesy. Or do you come across those experiences on those in those areas?
No, I will agree when in terms of saying there's the ukutwala thing, because they do. They bayatwala. If you notice a good case, in this case of Matoso, when he was sleeping with those girls, at times those girls will be unconscious. I mean, tell me, when you practice sex, that during that time when you having sex, why? I mean, it's the time where you wanna do, you know, and you remember everything that you do. But then why they go? They become unconscious. Yes, you know what I mean.
Yes,
and they will wake up by the time when he's done, and when he's praying, their mind is not. It's not there, and you'll find that they go to ukutwala because they want to get more. To get more powers,
to be able to
yes, and also to believe in them. And look at that Omatoso as well. You can't look straight, face him in the eyes. You can see that there is something wrong. Even there's another one that we're busy with, Pastor Pazuka in Soweto, who sleeps with the girls at the young age,
during
from the age of 15 years. I mean, how? And you'll find that he sleeps with these young girls without a protection, sleeping with different girls within the congregation, because they would brainwash them and tell them that if you don't sleep with me, something bad will happen to your parents, this and that, and they believe in them because he's they believe that he's the one who's got a connection with God, you know. And there's this term of calling them Papa, Daddy, which I don't like it. I don't know where does this term calling these pastors Papa, Daddy, though you've got your biological father, parent, you know. So those are the things that we need to look at, and also government needs to be strict in terms of allowing these people come here and open a church. For instance, now, like, we can open a church, and there's nothing that they will do a research and see if we do qualify and stuff and stuff. A lot of the buildings in CBD are ghosts. I mean, CBD becomes ghost towns.
Yes.
You can see it here in Joburg, in town, in PE, wherever. You'll find there's a church next to another church, you know. And these are these new churches. Because before, when we used to go to our churches, Methodist, Apostle, Rema, you know, you can count. We were never facing such issues like this. And you'll find that even when these young girls report the issue.
You know, I think we can maybe talk more on this. This is really an interesting topic, and it's getting rather heated. But unfortunately, time is against us. If we could just quickly, briefly, just where can people maybe report these abuses?
The people can report the abuses at the CRL Commission.
Okay.
Yes.
And the CRL Commission is really working hard to actually make sure that these cases are dealt with, you know, with agency.
Okay.
But also the CRL Commission is working with law enforcement agencies to make sure that we don't have people that are misrepresenting God, because we have seen these things happening. And it's about high time that even in our South African environment, we cannot allow false prophets to run their own, their own churches misrepresenting God. And yet we have true prophets of God that are doing the correct thing, and they're actually misrepresenting those true prophets of God.
Thank you so much. I think maybe we need more time next time on this. It is really a heated conversation and a problem in South Africa that we've had to deal with now. And going forward, we need to make sure we nip it in the bud.
Yes.
But now we have to go for a quick ad break. We'll be back with more news after this.